So this is the Cook County Commissioner, Richard Boykin, and let's see what he has to say.
Meet with the Assistant Secretary General to talk about the violence in Chicago, the gun violence in particular, the bloodshed that's taken place in too many of our communities like Austin, West Garfield Park, North Mondale, places like that, where we've just seen horrific levels of shootings and that sort of thing. And so I'm hoping to appeal to the UN to actually come to Chicago and meet with victims of violence and maybe even possibly help out in terms of peacekeeping efforts. Because I think it's...
Okay, let's talk about that. So first, he says, yeah, maybe the UN could come to Chicago and talk to the victims of gun violence. That sounds good, but then he tries to hit you with this. And also possibly for peacekeeping missions. How does the UN keep the peace in Chicago with foreign soldiers occupying U.S. soil? Now, isn't that against the Constitution for a foreign army to occupy U.S. soil? Interesting.
So critical for us to make sure that these neighborhoods are safe. Quite frankly, we fail the people of Chicago in many instances in these communities because we fail to protect them from the violence. I'll also say this, that there is a quiet genocide taking place in too many of our communities. 80% of those who are being killed by gun violence are African American, often killed at the hands of another African American. And so we must protect these population groups, and that's what the United Nations does. They're a peacekeeping force. They know all about keeping the peace, and so we're hopeful that they'll hear our appeal.
Why now? Why today?
Well, look, this meeting has been in place for at least a month now. We've worked on this a while. Quite frankly, we can't wait until, the mayor comes up with another 1,000 police to try to make the streets safer. Quite frankly, the people want to be safe right now in their homes and their neighborhoods, and we want to make sure that they're safe. And that's why we're doing it today. We can't afford to wait.
What are some ways that they could solve this problem? Like,
Hmm.
ways that you think that this person can come in and help?
Look, I think they've been able to help in places like Africa and abroad where they've sent troops in and sent forces in to help protect minority and vulnerable populations. And so, quite frankly, I think the same can be said for here in Chicago. I know that there are those who will disagree and who will say that this is an admission that we can't protect the people in the city, but quite frankly, we haven't protected them. Look, I know that the mayor may tout the fact that the number of people being shot is down and the number of people being killed is down. But let me tell you, we've had over 600 people killed by gun violence already this year alone. That is a huge number. In my community of Austin, we've had 450 people shot and 80 people killed this year alone. And so we have to do more to protect these communities. And that's what we're going to do. If we can't get it done here, with the leaders of the city, the state, and the county working together to utilize their budgets to help protect these communities, then I have to appeal to a higher authority and a higher force. And that's what we're doing.
Why don't you appeal to the president or governor or something, or I don't know, somebody above you? I mean, how do you have the power to bypass everybody above you, the president? I mean, do you even consult anybody, or are you just allowed to make these type of moves? I just really am curious about it. Like,
talking about physical security, I'm also talking about maybe suggestions for what we can do in Chicago to help protect our minority populations who are being, again, decimated by the violence that we see here in Chicago. I mean, this is really a genocide, and we have to do something to stop it. We're losing too many of our young people we're losing too many senior citizens. And we quite frankly have people in these neighborhoods who are afraid to walk down the streets. They're afraid to send their children to school. And so we want to make sure that we protect them.
You're probably aware this comes on the heels of two particularly violent days in our city. 9 people shot Tuesday, 8 people shot yesterday. Is it kind of feeling like this is just becoming the norm?
Absolutely, and we can never let this become the norm. We must utilize every avenue that we have to make sure that we protect our citizens here in the city. And that's what we're doing, and that's why I'm proud to head to the UN today to meet with the Assistant Secretary General.
Just an idea. This is not factual or anything. It's just an opinion, just an idea. Is it possible that the Cook County Commissioner, I'm guessing he's probably a Democrat, just guessing, is it possible that he is putting an order too big to fill? In other words, maybe he knows that this is not going to get okayed, or that even if he gets the ball rolling, it's going to get shut down. And then when it gets shut down by the president or somebody higher, he could say, well, look, these people don't want to help. Just an idea. I don't know. I was just thinking about that right now. How does that make sense? Just don't get how you bypass everybody and go to the UN.
So 1 day of meetings today?
1 day of meetings, and then we'll come back late tonight, and we'll see what happens. I'm hoping that they'll come.
Great. What time's your flight?
It's at 7:30.
All right. Well, we'll let you catch that. I know you're on your way.
Thank you all so very much. Thank you. Thanks.
Now,
Well,
what do you guys think? Do you think he actually is able to go to the UN and he's going to make this happen? Do you think this is just some type of play? And what do you think about foreign armies and people from foreign countries coming in patrolling the streets of Chicago? Don't forget that once anything happens, once you let them do something, anything, you give them an inch, they take a mile. So soon it won't just be Chicago. Maybe it'll be New York or Detroit. And then maybe it's some of the towns by it. And then pretty soon you got UN in a couple states or a couple cities. Well, what happens when they clean those cities up? Maybe they'll go to your city. But they won't clean it up. I don't think it'll work. What do you guys think? How do you guys feel about UN troops from all different countries coming to your country and patrolling your streets? Let me know your thoughts and comments below, because I'm just baffled by this guy.